The cake box bowed a little in my hands, warm through the cardboard, as if it still believed it had somewhere to go. Mum stood at the kitchen counter with her phone in one hand and her car keys in the other, staring past me like I was a calendar appointment she'd forgotten to cancel. Behind her, in the hallway, Brielle's crying rose and fell in theatrical waves, each sob loud enough to be heard, each pause perfectly timed to check if someone was listening. "I called everyone," Mom said, voice flat. "We're not doing this tonight." I waited for the word *sorry*. It didn't come. What came instead was a tired exhale and a glance at the clock. The kind of glance you give a traffic jam. "Because she's upset," Mom added, like that explained everything. "Before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow I have a special story for you." I didn't argue. Not because I agreed, because arguing would have made me part of the noise. I set the cake box down on the table with careful hands and listened. Not to Brielle, not to the dramatic hiccuping, and the way she stamped her foot hard enough to rattle the framed photos on the wall. I listened to Mom's breathing. It was the breathing of someone who had already chosen. For a second I let myself picture the dining room the way it was supposed to be. Cheap gold balloons spelling 18. My aunt's laugh bouncing off the ceiling, the kind of attention that feels like sunlight after a long winter. Then Mum's phone buzzed again. She checked it, and her shoulders softened. "Brielle says her mascara ran," Mom said automatically. "I'm taking her to get it fixed. Don't touch the decorations. I'll deal with this when I get back." She moved past me like I was another chair. "Mum," I said. She paused with her hand on the doorknob, eyes already elsewhere. "It's my birthday," I reminded her. My voice didn't crack. I didn't let it. "I'm 18 today." A flicker of annoyance crossed her face, not at Brielle, not at the situation, at the inconvenience of my reminder. "I know, Liyana," she said, as if I was a child repeating myself. "But right now your sister is having a hard moment. Be mature, be mature." That sentence slid into place like the final piece of a puzzle I hadn't realized I'd been working on my whole life. When the door clicked shut behind her, the house didn't get quiet. It got hollow. Brielle's crying continued, but it was farther away now, muffled by Mum's devotion and the closed bedroom door they always used like a curtain between us. I stood in my own kitchen with a cake on the table, balloons on the floor, a stack of paper plates no one would use, and a clean, bright clarity settling over me like a fresh sheet. The first thing I did wasn't dramatic. I took out my phone and opened my banking app, because when you've been the mature one for long enough, you learn that the real power is usually hidden inside small, quiet choices. My savings account glowed back at me with its neat rows of transactions. 3 years of after-school shifts, weekend catering jobs, late-night freelance work I did with my laptop balanced on my knees while Mom and Brielle watched movies in the living room. I scrolled to the most recent transfers. *** auto. Electric bill *** auto. Internet *** transfer. Mom groceries. ***. I stared at the list the way you stare at a stranger's handwriting and realize you know it better than your own. For the last 8 months my name had been the one keeping the lights on. Mum had called it helping out. She'd smiled when she said it, proud of me for being responsible. Brielle had never once asked what it cost. I tapped each auto payment and turned it off. Not forever. Not to punish them. Just off. I was 18 today, and I was done funding the version of this family that never included me. My phone lit up with a group text from my aunt. *** on our way. So excited my throat tightened. Mum had said she called everyone, but she hadn't called everyone. She'd sent a few messages. The bare minimum. Enough to feel like she'd handled it. I typed back with calm fingers. Asterisk asterisk change of plan, meet me at Ravel and Stone at 7. I still want to see you. I didn't add an explanation. I didn't add a sad face. I didn't ask for permission. I hit send. Then I opened the restaurant's reservation email I'd been saving like a secret prize. The confirmation was under Mom's name, because she insisted asterisk. It looks better if it's mine, honey. People take me more seriously, asterisk. But the deposit had come from my card. I called the restaurant. When the hostess answered, bright and practiced, I kept my tone steady. Hi, this is Liyana Hart. I'm calling about the 7 o'clock reservation for Marisol Hart. Yes, ma'am. It's still happening, I said. But please change it to my name. I'm the one who paid the deposit. A pause. Keyboard clicks. Okay, she said finally. I see the deposit here. I can change it. Thank you. And, would you like the cake service? I glanced at the box on my table. Yes, I said. And could you add 2 extra chairs? I think more people are coming than originally planned. When I hung up, my hands were perfectly still. That was the first thing I learned about myself that night. I could be hurt and still be precise. I moved through the house like I was in someone else's life, noticing details I'd stopped seeing. Brielle's makeup bag on the bathroom counter spilled open. Expensive brushes fanned like peacock feathers. The framed photo on the hallway wall. Mom and Brielle at the beach last summer. Matching hats, matching smiles. In the corner of the frame, half cut off my shoulder. I went to my room, pulled my suitcase from under the bed, and opened my closet. I didn't pack everything. I packed what mattered. Passport, birth certificate, the acceptance folder from Westbridge University, my full-ride scholarship letter tucked inside, crisp and official. A small envelope of cash I'd been adding to for months without telling anyone. And the notebook where I tracked every bill I'd paid since I was 15. That notebook wasn't revenge. It was proof. My phone buzzed again. A new message from Mom. Asterisk asterisk cancelling the party. Don't embarrass me by making this a bigger deal. I stared at the words. Not asterisk, don't embarrass your sister. Asterisk, not asterisk, I'm sorry. Asterisk, don't embarrass asterisk me asterisk. I typed back one word. Asterisk asterisk. Okay. Then I put my phone face down on the bed, like it had lost the right to watch me. By the time Mom returned, the kitchen looked exactly the same. Balloons. Plates. Decorations. She looked relieved for half a second, like my obedience had proven something. Brielle followed her in, eyes swollen, wearing a hoodie that said asterisk asterisk main character asterisk asterisk in glittery letters. She went straight to the cake box. Oh, Brielle said, lifting the lid like she was entitled to see what was inside. Chocolate? I hate chocolate. It's not for you, I said. Brielle blinked at me, genuinely confused by the concept. Mom's head snapped up. Liyana. I looked at Mom, then at Brielle. Brielle's tantrums had always been treated like weather uncontrollable, inevitable, something we all had to plan around. But weather didn't have eyes that flick to your reaction, calculating whether you'd fold. Brielle did. I can't help it if today has been horrible, Brielle said, voice instantly trembling again. Mason broke up with me, and everyone was coming over, and I looked disgusting, and Mom moved toward her like a magnet. Sweetheart, no. You're beautiful, Mum soothed, stroking her hair. Liyana understands. I stood there, hands at my sides, feeling something inside me loosen. Because she was right. I did understand. I understood that my 18th birthday could be erased with one tantrum. I understood that maturity was just a leash they handed me so they could pull when they needed me quiet. I understood that if I stayed, I'd spend my whole life being told to be the bigger person, while the smaller one took up all the space. Brielle sniffed and looked at me with wet, theatrical eyes. You're not mad, right? It wasn't an apology. It was a test. I smiled softly. No. Mom's shoulders dropped again, grateful. See? She's fine. She's always fine. Always fine. That phrase had been my family's favorite magic trick. It made my hurt disappear. It made my needs irrelevant. It made my silence look like consent. I picked up the cake box, hugged it to my chest, and walked to the door. Mom frowned. Where are you going? Out, I said. To do what? Brielle asked, sudden suspicion creeping in. I glanced back, expression polite. To celebrate my birthday. Mom laughed once, sharp. Liyana, don't be dramatic. We'll do something tomorrow. Tomorrow. The endless tomorrow where my life could always wait. I didn't answer. I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. The air hit my face like a truth I hadn't been allowed to breathe. I walked to my car, the same old sedan I'd been driving since I got my license. The title was in Mom's name because she'd insisted again. Asterisk insurance is cheaper if it's mine, honey. You can just pay me back. Asterisk, I'd been paying her back for 2 years. Tonight, I didn't fight that battle. Tonight, I had a different one. I drove to Ravel and Stone with the cake on the passenger seat, like a fragile passenger who deserved to arrive. At a red light, my phone buzzed. Aunt Rena. Asterisk, asterisk, wait. What happened? Your mom said you cancelled. Asterisk, asterisk, I breathed out slowly, then replied. Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't cancel. I'm still there at 7. I'd love if you came. A second later. Asterisk, asterisk, on our way. Proud of you. Asterisk, asterisk. My throat tightened again, but this time it wasn't pain. It was something else. Recognition. When I reached the restaurant, the hostess greeted me with a smile that didn't feel like pity. Happy birthday, Liyana, she said, checking the screen. We have your table ready. No one had said happy birthday to me yet. The words landed softly, like a hand on my shoulder. I blinked once, steadying myself. Thank you. She led me to a long table near the window. The candles were already set. The place settings looked like someone believed I mattered. I put the cake down and slid into the chair at the head of the table. My hands trembled for exactly 3 seconds. Then I folded them and sat still. This was the second thing I learned about myself that night. I didn't need permission to take up space. People started arriving. Aunt Rena, first bright scarf, warm eyes. The kind of aunt who hugged you like you were real. Then my cousin Mara, grinning. Then my uncle. Then my best friend Yasmin, who stopped dead when she saw me sitting at the head of the table. Leah, she said softly, sliding into the chair beside me. Are you okay? I looked around at the faces, some confused, some concerned, some already angry on my behalf. I'm okay, I said. I'm just not doing it the old way anymore. They didn't ask what that meant. They didn't demand a performance. They just stayed. At 7:15, the restaurant was full of the people who had chosen to show up. And then, like a storm arriving late, Mom walked in. She spotted the table immediately, my aunt's scarf, my uncle's broad shoulders, the balloon someone had secretly brought and tied to the chair. Her face went pale. Brielle trailed behind her, mascara freshly fixed, eyes sharp with suspicion. Mum marched to the table, smile glued on so tightly it looked painful. What is this? She hissed under her breath, leaning close to me. I held her gaze calmly. My birthday dinner. Mom's smile twitched. I told you not to embarrass me. I tilted my head slightly. I didn't invite anyone to embarrass you. I invited them because I wanted to see them. Brielle's eyes flicked over the candles, the place settings, the cake. You still had it, she snapped. After everything today? After everything today. As if my birthday was something happening to them. I didn't answer her. I looked at Mum. Mum's gaze darted to the others, checking expressions, calculating narrative. Aunt Rena stood up first. Marisol, she said, voice controlled. You said Liyana cancelled. She didn't. Mom's laugh was airy and fake. Oh, Rena, you know how sensitive she is. She said she didn't want a big thing. Brielle had a hard day and... Stop, Aunt Rena said. The word wasn't loud. It was final. Mom froze. I watched her carefully. My mother loved an audience, but only when the audience was trained. This one wasn't. I stood slowly. The chair scraped the floor, a small, honest sound. Everyone, I said, voice steady. Thank you for coming. My aunt's eyes softened. My cousin Mara nodded, jaw set. Even my uncle looked like he wanted to say something he'd held back for years. I turned to Mom. She stared at me with a warning in her eyes. Not concern. Not love. Warning. I smiled politely. I know tonight wasn't what you planned. Mom's lips parted, ready to argue. But it was what I needed, I continued. Brielle made a scoffing sound, but I didn't look at her. Today, I said, my party was cancelled because my sister had a tantrum. Mum stiffened. I kept going. I was told to be mature again. A ripple moved through the table, not whispers, not gossip. Understanding. I reached into my bag and pulled out my notebook. Mom's eyes widened. What are you doing? She whispered. I opened the notebook, flipped to the first page with the clean columns and neat handwriting. I'm not doing this for drama, I said. I'm doing it because I'm 18 now, and I'm done being erased. I turned the notebook outward so the table could see. Dates, amounts, bills, transfers, Brielle's phone plan, Brielle's hair appointment, groceries, internet, electric. A silence dropped over the table so heavy it felt like gravity. Mum's face shifted, first anger, then panic, then the quick search for a softer mask. Liyana, Mum said, voice syrupy now. This is not the place. It's exactly the place, Aunt Rena said, cold. Because you made it a place when you lied to us. Brielle's cheeks flushed. Are you seriously making this about money? I looked at my sister then, finally. Her eyes were glossy again, prepared to summon tears if needed. This isn't about money, I said. It's about reality. I tapped the notebook gently. For years, Mum told me we were tight and needed help. I kept my voice calm, careful. So I helped. I paid what I could. I picked up shifts. I stayed quiet. I let you two have your moments because I was told my job was to be mature. Mom's mouth opened. That's not. I didn't let her interrupt. And today, I said, my 18th birthday was treated like it was optional. My own voice stayed even. That was important. I wasn't pleading. I was stating. I'm not asking for an apology, I continued. I'm not asking you to understand. I'm just letting you know I'm changing my life. Mom's face tightened. Changing your life how? I slid a second folder from my bag, Westbridge University's crest on the front. My aunt's eyes widened with recognition. I placed it on the table like a contract. I got a full scholarship, I said. Housing included. Tuition included. Meal plan included. Brielle stared at the folder like it had personally offended her. Mom's expression flickered. Oh, she said, too quickly. Well, of course. That's wonderful. Why didn't you tell me? I held her gaze. Because every time I had something good, there was always a reason it had to wait. Her nostrils flared. You're being unfair, Mom said. I nodded slightly. Maybe. But you've had years of fare. Brielle's voice rose, sharp. So you're leaving? Just like that? Over a stupid party? I watched her carefully. Brielle didn't want me to stay. She wanted me to remain. The difference mattered. I'm leaving, I said. Because I'm done being the invisible one. Mom leaned in close, voice low. You can't just walk out. You live in my house. I smiled, small and controlled. Not anymore. I reached into my bag again and pulled out a single envelope. Mom's eyes snapped to it. Suspicious. Inside were two things. A copy of the car title still in her name, and a written agreement I'd printed that afternoon at the library. It wasn't legal in the way lawyers do things. It was asterisk clear asterisk. I'm leaving the car, I said, sliding the envelope toward her. I know it's in your name. Mum blinked, thrown off. Brielle's eyes widened. What? So how are you? I arranged rides, I said. I'll be fine. I looked around the table, meeting each person's gaze. I don't want anyone to fight for me, I said softly. I just want you to know the truth, because the truth has been edited for years. Aunt Rena's hand covered mine, briefly warm and steady. My uncle cleared his throat, voice rough. Marisol, is this true? Mom's eyes flashed. You don't understand what it's like, she snapped, mask slipping. I'm a single mother. I did what I had to do. The phrase came out like a shield. Single mother. As if it excused every choice, I didn't argue it. Because the point wasn't to win a debate. It was to stop participating in the story she wrote for me. I'm not saying you didn't struggle, I said. I'm saying you made my childhood the solution. The words fell into silence. Brielle's face went red. That's so dramatic. I looked at her, calm. You're allowed to call it dramatic because it never happened to you. Brielle's mouth opened. No sound came. Mom's eyes were hard now. You're humiliating me in front of everyone. I nodded, still controlled. No. I'm letting them see me. The waitress appeared then, mercifully asking if we were ready to order. My aunt answered with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Yes, we're ready. Mum stood rigid beside the table as menus were handed out. She was waiting for someone to comfort her, for someone to tell her she was still the center. No one did, because for the first time, the room had shifted, and it wasn't shifting back. Mum sat down finally, stiff as a statue. Brielle slumped into her chair, arms crossed, sulking like a child who'd been told no. The dinner continued, not in chaos, in clarity. People spoke to me, asked me about school, about what I wanted, about how I felt. No one asked Brielle about Mason. No one asked Mom what she had to deal with. I answered calmly, like I'd been practicing for this moment my whole life. And somewhere between the appetizer and the main course, Mom's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face changed. Brielle leaned over. What is it? Mum's fingers tightened around the device. I saw the notification before she could hide it. Asterisk autopay failed. Electric bill ***, a small thing. A quiet thing. But it landed like a bell. Mum looked up at me slowly, fury blooming. You turned off the payments, she whispered. I lifted my water glass and took one slow sip. Yes, I said. Brielle's eyes went wide. Are you serious? We're going to have no electricity because you're mad about a party. I set the glass down gently. We won't have no electricity, I said. You'll have to pay it. Like parents do. Mom's jaw clenched. Aunt Rena's voice was calm, surgical. Marisol, why was your teenage daughter paying your bills? Mom's eyes darted. It wasn't she offered. She wanted to contribute. I nodded. I did. Because I thought I was helping a family. I leaned forward slightly. But I'm not contributing to a system where my needs are cancelled whenever someone else wants attention. Brielle scoffed, but her voice trembled. You think you're so special now? I looked at her with a soft, almost sad steadiness. No, I said. I just think I'm a person. Silence. Then my uncle exhaled, long and heavy. Liyana, where are you going tonight? I swallowed once. I could have lied. I could have softened it to protect Mom's pride. But I was done protecting what hurt me. I'm moving in with Yasmin for a few weeks, I said. Then I leave for Westbridge's summer program in January. My aunt's eyes flashed. January is soon. I nodded. That's why I'm doing this now. If I wait, I won't go. Mom's voice sharpened. You're not going anywhere in January without my signature. You're still my child. I met her gaze, calm. I'm 18. Her face tightened. It was like she'd forgotten. Like my adulthood was an inconvenience she hadn't accounted for. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow I have a special story for you. The cake came out after dinner, candles lit. People sang. Not loudly, not performatively, just sincerely. When they reached the end, I leaned in and blew the candles out in one breath. The smoke curled upward, thin and pale. Mom watched me like she was trying to see the child she'd always managed. But that child wasn't there. I cut the cake, passed the first slice to Aunt Rena, the second to Yasmin, the third to my cousin Mara. Then, finally, I cut one for myself. Not because it was a statement, because it was practice. After cake, Mum pulled me aside near the restroom hallway. Her voice was tight. You think you can do this to me? After everything I've done? I didn't flinch. What you've done, I said softly, is keep me alive. Her eyes flashed with triumph at the admission. Then I finished. And what you've done, I added, is teach me that love in this house comes with conditions. Her mouth tightened. I'm your mother, she said, like it was a threat. I nodded slowly. And I'm your daughter, not your backup plan, not your emergency fund, not your emotional support animal. Her eyes widened at the words. She didn't like being named. You're being influenced, she hissed. By Rena, by your little friend. I'm being awakened, I said. My voice stayed low. Quiet knife. I'm not taking anything from you, I continued. I'm taking myself back. Mum's face tightened, then shifted into something almost desperate. What am I supposed to do? She demanded. The question was so revealing I almost laughed. Not asterisk, how do I fix this? Asterisk, not asterisk, how do I make it right? Asterisk, what am I supposed to do? As if I was responsible for her next step. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said the truth. You're supposed to parent Brielle, I said. And you're supposed to stop using me as the adult in the room. I walked back to the table. Yasmin stood immediately, reading my face. You ready? She asked. I nodded. Aunt Rena hugged me hard. Call me, she murmured. Any time. Day or night. My uncle pressed a folded bill into my hand, rough and embarrassed. For whatever, he muttered. I squeezed his hand once, grateful. Mum watched from across the restaurant, jaw clenched. Brielle sat beside her, arms crossed, face twisted in resentment. As I slung my bag over my shoulder, Brielle called out, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. So that's it? You're abandoning us. The word asterisk abandoning asterisk hit like a trap. It was designed to make me the villain. I turned slowly, meeting her eyes. I'm not abandoning you, I said. I'm leaving a role you assigned me without asking. Brielle sneered. You're so selfish. I smiled faintly. If taking care of myself is selfish, I said, then I'm learning. I didn't wait for her reply. I walked out. The night air was cool against my cheeks. Yasmin's car idled at the curb. As I slid into the passenger seat, my phone buzzed. Mom. I stared at the screen. Then I turned it off. Not in anger. In peace. At Yasmin's apartment, I set my suitcase by the couch and sat down, suddenly exhausted. Yasmin handed me a glass of water. I'm proud of you, she said simply. I took the water with both hands. For a second, my chest ached. Not because I missed Mom's approval, because I realized how long I'd been starving for basic respect. I opened my laptop. Not to escape. To build. I logged into my freelance account and checked the pending invoice I'd been waiting on. Paid. The amount hit my account like a small door opening. Then I opened my scholarship portal. There it was again. Congratulations, Liyana Hart. I stared at the words until my eyes blurred. A quiet sob rose in my throat. I swallowed it down. Not because feelings were weakness. Because tonight wasn't about falling apart. It was about standing up. The next morning, my alarm went off at 6. I got dressed in silence, made coffee in Yasmin's tiny kitchen, and opened a new email. Subject line: change of address and updated contact information. I wrote it calmly. To the bank, to the scholarship office, to the summer program. Each send felt like staking a flag in new ground. My phone stayed off. For 3 hours, I lived in a world where no one could demand my maturity as a tax. Then I turned it on. Messages flooded in. Mum. You're being cruel. Mum. Your sister cried all night. Mom. Call me right now. Brielle. Hope you're happy. Then a message from Aunt Rena. I told your mom she needs to get help. I'm here. You're not alone. And one from my cousin Mara. I didn't know. I'm sorry. You deserved better. I stared at the screen. The old version of me would have responded to Mum first. Would have tried to soothe. Would have apologized for surviving. Instead, I put the phone down. I opened my notebook. On the last page, I wrote a sentence. Not a speech, not a vow. A simple fact. I will not shrink to fit someone else's comfort. Then I closed it. A week later, I walked onto Westbridge's campus with a single suitcase and a scholarship ID hanging from my neck. No one knew me there. That was the point. I wasn't arriving as the mature daughter, or the backup plan, or the silent one. I was arriving as myself. The first night in my dorm, I sat on the bed and let the quiet settle around me. No tantrums, no guilt, no sudden cancellation of my joy. Just silence that belonged to me. My phone buzzed once. A new message from Mom. It wasn't an apology. It was a question. Do you still have the login for Brielle's phone plan? I stared at it. Then I typed one sentence. No. You'll have to handle it. I hit send. I set the phone down. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a child begging to be chosen. I felt like a woman choosing herself. 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications.